To talk more about it, we have Thomas Savidge. He's a research fellow at the American Institute for Economic Research, and Mark Lopriese is a senior market strategist and CEO for Market Rebellion, which has made its name for itself by educating independent investors. And I have been one of those investors in full disclosure, Mark.
That's great to hear, and it's great to be with you this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome, gentlemen. So, China is appointing a new trade negotiator during the tariff fight with the United States. The latest tariff action coming on the heels of a much larger secure review of critical imports focusing on China's rare earth metals. Now, is China, do they have the winning card here against the Trump administration by trying to use what they have as their leverage, Mark?
Well, unfortunately, this is a very shrewd move on the part of China in restricting our access to these critical rare earth minerals. Listen, this has been a national security issue for many years, and it's something that we're very pleased that President Trump is addressing head on. If we do not have access to these rare earth minerals, these critical minerals, it can literally choke our ability to manufacture semiconductors, chips, technology, things in this country that we need, not only for consumer electronics, but for the military and for national defense. So not surprised to see this coming out of China to hit us where it hurts when it comes to this category. But no, I do not think that they hold the cards.
Mm-hmm. Especially since, Thomas, we saw the data, yes, come out yesterday, somewhat stronger with China's GDP. But we all know that China is falsifying much of their data. We can't use these numbers as reliable, as well as the fact that Chinese companies in general, they have lower reporting standards. This is exactly why Donald Trump wants to delist the Chinese companies from the New York Stock Exchange. Could you elaborate on all of this?
So it's like you said, it's definitely a tricky situation. As we've seen over the past 5 years, you have to look at what's under the hood there, and you have to take whatever information that comes from the CCP with a grain of salt. And so it's incredibly difficult, and it's a very strange situation. It's a very tense situation. As is mentioned, there's some serious national security implications there, which makes, although the press secretary said China is like every other country, there are some genuine national security concerns there that might not exist, say, with our tariffs over our allied countries, which I would advise strongly against.
Yeah, no, good points. Now, getting back to the market, the Dow Jones losing a bit of steam yesterday.
Yeah.
It dipped, 155 points in late-day trading, but still holding strong compared to a couple of weeks ago, of which a lot of people on the other side of the aisle made a lot of noise about. But today, NVIDIA is now saying it would require a license to export its graphics processing units to China. Mark, how do you see the markets reacting to this news on NVIDIA? I think they reported yesterday that they're going to take a $5 billion hit with respect to, I imagine, would be the lack of market there. What do you see going forward in the near term, and is the AI trade still alive?
The AI trade is very much alive and well, and smart investors are picking up and or adding to existing positions in names like NVIDIA. I added to my NVIDIA position in one of my personal accounts just the other day. Listen, are there bumps in the road? Is there going to be additional volatility as a consequence of not only tariffs, but in the instance of what NVIDIA reported yesterday, non-tariff trade policy changes that are being imposed by the president? And look, again, this comes back to the national security issue, the requirement to have this special license to be able to export these chips to China. This is about making sure that we maintain an advantage, that we have the ability to establish dominance, global dominance in the arms race, the AI arms race. And the modern arms race, guys, is not going to be one about guns and missiles. It's about technology, and that's why we have these policy changes. This is a one-time charge to NVIDIA. It is bringing the market down this morning. In the pre, it looks like the Nasdaq's going to open down about 150 basis points.
Right.
It's a bump in the road.
Yeah, I mean, a good point. I mean, look, China has been, what we learned during COVID, they were making the special ingredients for a lot of pharmaceuticals. chips. It is about national defense, but now we have geopolitical risk to lay over into which stocks we invest in.
Right, and that's why every word counts and every policy change matters. And California, though, now saying it will sue to stop the Trump tariffs. This is not surprising, Thomas. Governor Gavin Newsom saying the state will argue Trump's moves are illegal. We've also seen a lot of Democrats push back and say what Trump has done is insider trading. He's moving markets. OK, I mean, he's allowed to do this. But your take on the latest out of Gavin Newsom's regime?
It's kind of funny, of all the places that are trying to sue President Trump, it's it's California, which is, for anybody who's been following California, people have been leaving in droves. Governor Newsom himself has been in part of tons of regulations, added taxes, because California had such a generous unemployment insurance with such lax conditions to receive it. There was tons of waste, fraud, and abuse. So that unemployment insurance trust fund is depleted to nothing. They've taken a loan from the Treasury, which means an additional tax into already, on top of already the payroll taxes that pay into unemployment insurance, an additional tax on top of that to pay this loan back to the Treasury. I'd say California has made it, and has been one of the states, if not the state, that's made it the hardest to do business. It's funny to see that turning around with President Trump. If you're looking at the tariffs broadly, the president, if you're looking at those tariffs broadly, President Trump should definitely reconsider, especially tariffs on on our allies. And as Mark mentioned, though, too, setting up these policy changes, while the markets have been pretty volatile, markets are reacting to information, but it's those businesses, whether it's something as big as NVIDIA or as small as your family corner store, those businesses have to react to those fundamental changes and the changes in cost, whether that be tariffs, the non-tariff barriers, or changes in tax policy at the state level, which might push somebody out of California.